Whether you're a student, a working professional, or just someone with a ton of obligations, time management is a superpower. Sure, you can find a ton of shortcuts, hacks, and tricks that might save you a few minutes here and there, but in this video, I'm going to give you 6 rock-solid strategies that are the holy grail of time management. Hi, I'm Katie Azevedo from SchoolHabits.com. I'm a private executive function coach who teaches students and working professionals strategies to learn and work better. Please consider liking and subscribing. That makes a world of difference. And for more tips and tricks for school and productivity, you can find me over on Instagram. All right, let's get started. Tip 1, get absolutely clear on how much time you really have. We misjudge this all the time, and sometimes we really need a reality check. We misjudge this all the time because we somehow connect time to feelings. For example, we say things like, I feel like I have plenty of time, or I feel like that'll only take 10 minutes. But time is not a feeling. Time is science. Time is math. So here's what we do to stop relying on our feelings and actually figure out how much time we really have. Remember, we're still in step 1 here. First, you have to be using a calendar system. Doesn't matter if it's digital or analog, pick one. So you get your calendar, and the first thing you add in there is your non-moving parts. Those are things like school, work hours, practices, classes, jobs, and appointments. Don't forget to add in transition and commuting times to and from each of these events. Next, block out an average time for your meals and your bedtime. Put these on the calendar. Lastly, look at the remaining time gaps. That is how much time you really have. It's this pocket of time that you have available for self-care, enjoyment, socializing, and if you're a student, for studying and homework. And that brings me to step 2. Step 2 is figuring out what to do in these time blocks. Like literally, what are the things that you have to do? So daily and weekly planning for this step are sufficient. Like, what are you gonna do on the days of this week? This isn't monthly planning. There is a time and a place for monthly planning, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. So how do we figure out what our tasks are? There is a process for this, whether you're a student or a working professional or just a busy person who's looking for time management strategies. First, do a brain dump. I have a very specific step-by-step tutorial for how to do a brain dump on SchoolHabits.com, and I will leave that link in the description box. Seriously, you definitely want to start there. A brain dump is where you sit down for a period of time, 10, 15 minutes, and get absolutely everything out of your head. It's going to include tasks, so action items, worries, which are things we can't do anything about, and ideas, which we are not going to touch in this video, but if you read the brain dump strategy, you'll know what to do with the ideas. After you do your brain dump, circle all of the action items on the paper. That is the category we are going to focus on. This is your first source of material or content for your list of what are the things that I need to do. It's an internal source, your internal catalog that has been running through your head. That's our first source. Now we're going to move to external sources of tasks. If you are a student, that means all the places that you would go to typically store your assignments, your tasks. So that would be things like your assignment notebook, Google Classroom, Canvas, Blackboard, whatever your learning management system is. It could be your teachers, it could be your syllabus. Go into these places, extract the tasks you need to do, and put them on your list. Now, don't forget more abstract tasks like reading and studying. These are things to do. They're still action items. If you're a working professional, you're gonna get a grasp on current and upcoming projects. So consider repetitive weekly or daily tasks. Like if you have to prepare a report every Wednesday, that goes on your list. Again, don't forget to include more abstract tasks like reading, thinking, you're probably not studying, but maybe preparing for presentations. So after you've done this, you have your big list of the things you need to do. Now, step 3 might be obvious at this point. It's time to figure out when you are going to do these things. So step 1 was identifying the pockets of time, like the real amount of time you really have. And step 2 is figuring out, okay, what are the things I need to do? And this step right now is putting those together. So you want to sit down at a table or a desk to make this step happen. You have your calendar with your available time pockets over here, like in front of you, and you have your list of tasks over here in front of you as well. Those are the 2 things that you need. And now we figure out what goes where. If your essay is due on Wednesday, you need to be working on it on Monday and Tuesday, so schedule that in. If your work presentation is on Friday, you should be preparing for it each day leading up to Friday. Schedule in those work sessions. Now, this is a very important tip. If at the end of this step, you still have items on your task list, but you really don't have any more pockets of time without like cutting into your sleep schedule, then you really do need to do fewer things. Something has to give. Now, I'm gonna go back to something I said at the beginning of this video, which is time is math. Like 2 + 2 is always gonna equal 4. So if you have a 2 and a 3, there is nothing you can do to make it equal 4. Now, confronting this reality can be uncomfortable. Sometimes it brings up new decisions that we have to make about how we're spending our time and what our commitments are. But that's the reality of time management. All right, tip 4 is to schedule time for admin tasks. Admin means administration. Now, whether you're a student or a working professional, there are basic admin tasks that you're gonna have throughout the week that don't necessarily count as work. But these small tasks, they add up and they consume time, but we often forget to even consider them because again, it's not like if you're a student, something that you can turn in on Google Classroom, or if it's, if you're a professional, it's not something that you're going to be held accountable to your boss or that you submit to your team, but there's still things that you have to do to keep things running smoothly in the background. And these are the things that if we don't schedule them in, they build up and they seriously leave us overwhelmed. So depending like what your status in life is, like work or school, whatever, your admin tasks are going to look different, but here are some examples. Managing emails, checking schedules and coordinating calendars, syncing digital and analog calendars if you use both, clearing out your desktop and your downloads folder, taking time to clean your workspace, errands, doing returns, doing an online order, making a phone call, all of that life stuff, even doing your laundry, right? That takes time. Why do we always forget that these things take time? Like if we don't find pockets of time on our calendar, in those pockets of time that we figured out in step 1, like how are these things going to get done? All right, strategy 5 is use the 2-week rule. I love this one and I made it up. So if something is due in 2 weeks, start it now. There's something magic, I don't know, but something like really right about the time span of 2 weeks that seems to be enough time to get the things done, like even pretty big projects. Unless it's like a giant cumulative exam, like your law exam, you're gonna need more than 2 weeks for that, okay? But 2 weeks is enough time for essays, presentations, preparing for tests. It's just something that I've figured out after like 16 years of teaching. Strategy number 6, if you don't have enough time at the end of all of this, actually do something about it. Not having enough time is sometimes a very, very baloney excuse, but also sometimes it's like perfectly legitimate. And it can be a real problem that simply comes down to math. But you gotta be real about this. Do you honestly not have enough time? Or are you just being all Willy Wonka about the time that you do have? How are you spending your time? Like, how much time are you spending watching TV? On your phone? Gaming? Now listen, I'm not judging these activities, I'm just calling attention to the fact that they take up time. And if you're constantly using the narrative that I don't have time, I really challenge you to challenge that. If you're stuck, you can use strategies like the Pomodoro technique, the power hour, time blocking is a good one. And of course, remove distractions. Actually remove the distractions. And then honestly, after all of that, if there really is not enough time to get the things done, then you're gonna have to do fewer things. The bottom line here is that good time management has 4 foundational pillars: reducing, prioritizing, planning, and then executing. But even before that, we need clarity. Clarity in terms of how much time do we really have, and what are the things that we really need to do. So get out your calendars and your pencils and your reality goggles and get to it. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.